sense that this two-way was a possibility for you, and how did you end up getting the news that you actually were signing the contract?
I mean, I just came in and worked hard. I was kind of unaware of the opportunity that was going to present itself, and it ended up happening over time. But just testament to the hard work and dedication and the work that I put in with the team.
How did you end up back? Obviously, you go to Detroit last year mid-season. When did the conversation come up about returning to Boston? What was your reaction to that?
As soon as my stint was over in Detroit, I was kind of gathering options, and my agent mentioned Boston really would love to have me back. And in the back of my mind, it was just like last training camp, I was really grateful because I learned a lot of things. They're coming off an NBA championship, so just being here, being around the program, just be able to see and be able to learn things. So I feel like that was a big part of me getting the two-way in Detroit and me getting that opportunity. And then when the opportunity came to come back, that was something I jumped on very quick.
Did it feel easier getting used to being here given that you had the training camp last year?
Yeah, for sure. Like some of the little things are different, but as a whole, the system is the same. The terminology is the same. Terminology that I was real familiar with here and then in Maine last year, so everything was pretty easy going to get used to.
Ron, what's the process of being able to come in cold and then make an impact and capitalize on those minutes?
Joe tells us whenever you get thrown in the game, you got to be ready. Nobody cares if you sat for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. If you go out there and you don't produce, it looks bad whether you had 10 minutes to warm up or you had no minutes. So just going in there with the right mindset, going in there knowing nobody cares if you're hot, you're cold, and just trying to get yourself in the flow of the game.
And then being further removed from the shoulder injury, did that impact just like including your confidence out there and being able to play maybe more freely, less restricted?
Yeah, basketball is a big mental game, so going through surgery, going through that with my shoulder, I was dealing with like a lot of confidence issues, getting to the basket. I was real nervous about bumping into people, but now I feel like I'm more free. I feel like my shoulder's in a real good place. And, just like you said, it feels like a little weight off my shoulder, literally.
Take away from your year in Detroit?
My year in Detroit, opportunities come and go. I was able to learn a lot. Best year of Detroit basketball in a while, so to be able to be around for that, it was a good experience. Learned a lot from those guys, wish them the best.
What's it like to have your brother in the league, and will you guys talk every day? What's that going to be like?
Yeah, me and Dylan talk every day. It's my little brother. We obviously dreamed about this, both being in the NBA, sharing the court together, guarding each other, stuff like that is things that we grew up playing on a mini hoop raving about. So it's definitely a great moment for us, our family. It's just a testament to our hard work that we put in and, the positions that we put ourselves in.
What's the last few years been like for you, just trying to kind of break through and get an opportunity? Does it get discouraging? Do you ever think, maybe I'll just go overseas, or have you been kind of laser focused on staying here?
Yeah, definitely. It's discouraging. It's hard. It's tough. But when you leave the gym, you just try to get away from all those negative thoughts. But just trying to get your foot in the door, trying to get in with a good organization. Those are all the important things. And ultimately, I'm a big believer in that things work out the way that it's supposed to. God has a hand on all of our plans. Whichever way He's guiding us, whatever way I'm going. So I know that He brought me back here for a reason. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah, just trying to focus on the positive rather than the negative.
Ron, I know you mentioned you worked with Phil a little bit in the training camp. Are you looking forward to playing for the Maine Celtics? What about that roster and working with him excites you for the season?
Yeah, for sure. The other guys that were on training camp on the E10, I got a great relationship with every single one of those guys. All of them congratulated me yesterday. Stuff like that is important to building camaraderie. Phil does a good job of connecting all of us. So, I'm excited for my experiences up in Maine. I know we're going to have a good year up there. We're going to have a good training camp, and we're going to build something together, and we're going to build a winning program. So,
What do you feel like your role is with this team? What do they want you to focus on? Looks like you said it's something they don't need to. What are you preparing to play?
Guard, really. Basketball is a positionless sport now, so point guard, shooting guard doesn't matter. They've emphasized to me that they like my decision making, with the ball in my hand, so being a primary, secondary ball handler, and just being able to defend and hit threes. So, just being able to perfect all those little things, it'll carve out my role perfectly.